Good morning, Kinaway members, and welcome to today's episode of Kinaway TV. I'd like to start off the morning by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're all meeting and pay respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Before we kick today's interactive webinar off, I'd like to take a brief moment to remind viewers of the support services currently available for Kinaway members. The first support service on offer, which is in collaboration with Kinaway member Claystone Marketing, is free access to Claystone's social media and marketing course. The course provides an overview of social media marketing strategies and tools, which helps highlight marketing opportunities for Indigenous business. It's a great resource and is really helpful to businesses looking to solidify their online presence. In another collaborative effort, Kinaway is excited to partner with Boost Legal Templates. Designed for small businesses, Boost Legal Templates gives you clarity, safety, and access to real quality legal templates. Just complete the friendly questionnaire and you will instantly receive your own legal template, which you can take pride in knowing it has been created specifically for your business. Kinaway is proud to offer our members a 25% discount across all Boost Legal Templates. So if you feel this is something you may be interested in, please contact the Kinaway team. Another support service I'd like to mention is a confidential phone crisis line for Victorian Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, launched by the Victorian Aboriginal Health Service. The service is for Indigenous people and families who feel they may need to have a yarn with someone about their wellbeing. This 1-800 helpline is a statewide social and emotional wellbeing service, and the helpline, whose number is 1-800 95 9563, operates 7 days a week from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m, and you'll find their contact information on the screen throughout today's webinar. And finally, there's plenty of webinars on professional and business development available on our Facebook and YouTube channels, so please feel free to jump on at any stage and make yourself familiar with the content. Along with the webinars and support packages mentioned, Kinaway is still offering the usual forms of support for our members. So if you feel you may need assistance or support of any kind, please feel free to get in contact with the team here at Kinaway. For today's interactive webinar, we're extremely excited to welcome Peter Murphy from Pen Group. Peter is an entrepreneur and philanthropist, passionate about empowering individuals to chase their dreams and make a difference. Peter distinguished himself as a leader in the corporate world from a young age and has a strong leadership and management record of high performance across a range of organisations. Peter was the founding global chair of Global Citizen, a movement where engaged citizens use their collective voice to end extreme poverty by 2030. Since 2011, Global Citizen has influenced the creation of key policy in areas vital in the fight to end poverty, such as education, water sanitation, girls and women, environment and food. Peter is also a board member of the Collingwood Football Club, as well as chair of the Collingwood Football Club Foundation. Under Peter's leadership, the foundation established the Magpies Nest program, which puts a roof over the heads of 120 adults and children who would otherwise be sleeping rough on Melbourne streets, as well as providing approximately 3,000 free meals to homeless Melburnians every week. Peter understands the impact that business can have in changing the world for good, and as a result, he created Pen Group to unlock the amazing potential of people and ideas to effect positive change in the world. Pen is not an investment firm, but a way of thinking that challenges paradigms in the conventional way of doing business. Pen invests in great ideas and great people that will change the world. To date, Pen has 15 businesses in a growing portfolio, ranging from an online education platform for unemployed Australians, a company developing a treatment for substance abuse disorders, a weed control program out of Israel, and a technology improving long-term survival rates of cancer patients. Pen is a vision, decades in the making, a vision to create an environment that empowers people and ideas to change the world. The Pen team has come together under the empowerment model with one common purpose: to make a difference. In light of this, Kinaway is delighted to be working in collaboration with Pen Group to empower Indigenous people, ideas and businesses. The result of this collaboration will create unique opportunities exclusive to Kinaway members. We're extremely excited about this collaboration and are pleased to once again welcome Peter to present today's interactive webinar as he elaborates further on Pen Group and the opportunity available for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and business throughout this partnership. And finally, we do want this to be an interactive webinar. So for anyone viewing, please feel free to post any questions on the Kinaway Facebook and YouTube channels, and Peter will do his best to address them throughout the presentation. I'd like to welcome Peter to present this morning's webinar. Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, James. Great to be with you all. What a generous introduction. Thank you very much. As James said at the start, I'd like to just take you through the journey of PAN and how we ended up where we are today, and why we're so passionate about empowerment of people and empowerment to allow people to chase their dreams, to change the world, and to make a real positive difference in the world we all live. To begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners and the custodians of the land that we operate on at PAN, the Bunurong people, and it's special land to me. I live on this land, I holiday on this land, and I work on this land, and I'm really grateful for that, and so I wanted to pay homage to the people who are the traditional owners and the custodians. I'd also like to acknowledge elders past, present and emerging as we meet here today. To begin with, I want to play you a short video of an experience that I had in India in a place called Patna. At the time when I went to this city, there were 1.4 billion people on the planet living in extreme poverty, as defined by the World Health Organization, at living under $2 a day. And 700 million of those 1.4 billion lived in India. The poorest state in India at the time was Bihar. The poorest city in Bihar was Patna, and the poorest place in Patna was a place called the Brick Kilns. And it is in here that I visited some years ago, and I just want to show you a quick video of me as I leave those slums. In the slums of Patna, I met a young man who had been crippled at birth, or as a young baby, with polio. He's now 17 years of age, and he was on crutches, and he was learning English so that he could fight polio, and that he could stop it happening to any other child again. And he said to me that him and I are linked, our hearts are linked, that we are one in our hearts in the fight against polio. And that was amazingly uplifting, like amazingly uplifting, and I'll never forget that man ever for the rest of my life. I grew up in Melbourne, and I grew up in a world where middle-class Australia, southeastern suburbs, and I always thought that I was hard done by. My father left us when we were very young, left my mother and three sisters and myself. And through my teenage years, I played the victim. I was a difficult child, and then I spent from that period on trying to prove to the world that I wasn't a problem, and that I had to prove that I was successful. And so I focused my life on external measures, on being successful in business, making more money, buying a bigger house, getting a faster car, buying nicer clothes, anything that I could show externally to the world that I was successful. And then I had the opportunity to visit Africa to begin with, in a place called the Valley of 1,000 Hills outside of Patna. And I was asked to go over as a leader to talk to this community about leadership. And this was a community who had grandparents and grandchildren and very few parents, because they had been wiped out by the AIDS pandemic. And I walked in to give this presentation to a group of elders in the community about leadership, and in my self-absorbed, arrogant way, I believed that I had something to teach them. And I, in a very short period of time, realized that I was really on the wrong path, and that these people who had incredibly difficult lives and incredible challenges, nothing that I could ever have imagined in my incredibly privileged background. So I sat and I listened, and I heard their stories, and I learnt so much about what it really was to face adversity as a community. And so I decided at that moment that my focus from there was to make a difference, to come back to Australia and see what I could do to make a difference. Now, to be honest, I didn't really know what that meant, but my journey and my story was evolving. I think I was disappointed in my arrogance and my lack of empathy for others, and that I thought that my life had been so difficult when in fact it had been so blessed. And so then I continued to travel with Global Citizen, and I went, and this picture of this incredible young man here, and regrettably, I'm not sure you heard it in the video, but he contracted polio as a child, and he was now studying English so that he could learn to influence society and help others with the eradication of polio. And he committed his life to this. Now, you can't see it in this photo, but this young man is severely crippled. I haven't met many happier, hopeful, inspiring people in my life than this man. And he was so grateful that we had taken the time to visit his community and engage in the polio eradication program. And then that blew me away to the point of I started to realize that if I could bring my experience and my skills and my learnings to a world that where I could walk in hand with people like this young man to make a difference, to change things, not to tell them how to behave or how to live or how to solve their problems, but to just engage and listen and storytell, and then together empower the world to make a difference. And so that quote there, as Nelson Mandela, my great idol, said, "It is not where you start, but how high you aim that matters for success." And there's a good saying that we have at PAN, which is, "It's better to reach for the stars and touch the sky than never leave the ground." So coming out of there, I think, Sarah, if we can move to the next slide, the seed of PAN was born. And if you think about a beautiful tree, from a distance, it looks incredible oneness, this beautiful sight of color or greenery. And it's not as you get up close that you realize the intricacy and the details and the complexity of these amazing trees. And so the PAN idea is that people give me the credit for being the founder, for creating whatever. It is, in my view, untrue. I had the seed of an idea, and the seed of the idea came from all my experiences and the incredible people that I had got to meet and I learnt from, and the mentors I had and the mistakes I made. And that's where the seed came from. It didn't just come from me. And now PAN, as James said at the start, we now have 15 businesses that we empower that has become something because of the team around me. And two of them are on the call today, Sam and Sarah, and these amazing people that have bought off on the seed idea and they've added to it. And then it's flourished and it's growing. And we have this habit in the world of wanting to celebrate the individual, yet the individual never achieves anything. We achieve great things together as a collective. And this is in essence sort of the seed of PAN comes from, that we need to keep nurturing, fertilizing, watering, so that this amazing tree can grow and that we can reach out and touch and impact the world in a positive way. Next slide, please, Sarah. So you probably heard the word empowerment a bit as I've gone through this, but we embrace the idea of an empowerment model, and people want to put us in buckets of venture capital, investment firms, private equity, mentoring, social enterprise. We say, no, we are an empowerment model. We believe in people, like we believe that people with passion, we believe with people with great ideas, that they change the world, and often they just need some financial support or some mentoring to empower them. We do not ever want to get involved with a group of people and a business and tell them what to do. We want to unlock the vision and the passion of these people that are incredible in the world. We want to challenge paradigms. There's so many rules and paradigms in the world that inhibit our creativity, that inhibit our achievement. And it's not easy, but if we just live in a world of paradigms where we inhibit our growth, then we will never address these important issues. And we think by challenging paradigms, we can affect really positive change. And, you know, to believe that we could have a world without extreme poverty, it was fanciful 10 years ago. Today, those numbers have halved, and we've gone from it being a hope to something that's possible. And now we work really hard on moving it from being possible to probable. And that's the way you make real change. And this paradigm of and, which I'll show you a chart a little bit later on, but it's, you know, we do both. We don't invest if we can't add value, and we don't add value if we don't invest. We want to be all in as partners walking a path with great founders and great entrepreneurs. And at the end of the day, as it says there, you know, hashtag M.A.D, it's all about trying to make a difference. Thanks, Sarah. So why Indigenous empowerment? Why are we having this conversation? Well, I've been incredibly lucky through my life to meet people and travel the world and see some incredible things. And one of those places is South Africa, where I've spent a bit of time, and I've had the opportunity to be deep in the South African society and understand the apartheid struggle, and understand the struggles that still face that nation and those peoples. And when we were in South Africa with Global Citizen running one of our festivals at the end of 2018 for the Mandela 100 birthday celebrations, it struck me that they have this incredible young population that are more educated than they've ever been, extreme unemployment, massive social disadvantage, but passion to make a difference. And so the idea of empowering communities for social change with sustainable businesses that allow them to sustain themselves rather than looking for welfare, government, charity, but genuinely coming up with ideas that build sustainable businesses that help lift these communities in South Africa out of poverty and social disadvantage. And so we're working on that idea, and then through, I think, a former board member of Kinaway and a great supporter of Kinaway, Jodie Sizer, a proud Indigenous woman who was a dear friend of mine. I was telling her about this idea, and she quite rightly said, well, that's wonderful that you're doing all these great things on the other side of the world. What about at home? And I reflected on that, and then the Adam Goods documentaries came out, and I watched them with some Indigenous friends, and I was moved by the emotional reaction. So intellectually, I was disappointed in Australia's response to that and its handling of it. But I don't think I got it fully emotionally till I watched it with my Indigenous friends, and I saw the hurt, the generational hurt, the deep hurt, and I wondered why, as a proud Australian, I didn't know this story. Why didn't I know about our First Nations people? Why didn't I know about the struggle? Why didn't I know about the hurt that had been caused? And so I guess with part shame, hopefully a lot of humility, with the PAN team, we started to explore, and we started to try and learn as much as we can. And the more we learn, the more we realize how ignorant we are. But our passion now, if we can play a role, is to try and unlock a pathway for Indigenous entrepreneurs to chase their dreams, to change the world, and to do what we can to add value in this space. And we don't want to, again, tell people what to do direct people what to do. We just want to empower people. We want to hold hands and walk together down this path. Next slide, Sarah. Thanks. So that in essence, then, what does all of that mean? Well, we have this view that great businesses are built out of a true north. They're built out of being purposeful. They're not built out of focusing on making money. And if you look at the PAN ethos, we have, we don't, you look at our website, we never talk about return on investment. We talk about purpose. We talk about being driven to a purpose, to a cause, to an outcome. And that's how you build sustainable change. And so we want to work with people to understand their true north, and we want to empower them and build the roadway to their true north, not our true north, not to where we're going, but to where they're going. And so we encourage everyone in business to really understand your purpose, what's your reason for being. And it can't be making money. I mean, there's probably a lot of football fans, I suspect, on this call. The purpose of a football club cannot be to win premierships. It's one of the things they do, but their purpose is so much more. They give so much more to a community, or they should. And so for business, we think the same. It's about your purpose. It's about where you're going and what you're trying to achieve. Thanks, Sarah. So in essence, so here we go. So the paradigm of and. This is, I guess, what I was just talking about. We keep getting told you can get great financial returns or have a social impact. We believe with the right people, ideas and businesses, and empowering those people to chase their dream, to change the world, you can seriously make a difference, and you can do both. So we live in the middle of this space of the paradigm of and. We have 6 key principles we live by. One is to be neither humble nor arrogant. It is okay to be very good at something, and it's okay to celebrate what you're good at, but you cannot be arrogant with it. The question, number 2, the question is more powerful than the answer. Never walk into a discussion with the answer. Walk in with questions. Truly engage. We have unwritten rules around some of this stuff. For example, if we meet with people and they never ask a question, we don't believe they've listened. Active listening can be demonstrated by the quality of the questions you ask. Are you really engaged for learning, or are you asking questions to share your own knowledge? We question for yes. We make the assumption that if we don't understand something, we don't understand it, not that the other person is wrong or that the other person is misguided. We really explore deeply to try and understand what we've missed, so we question for yes. The fourth one is the best idea is yet to be thought of. It is still out there. So any problem that we face as a world today is solvable. Any single problem. The great advantage of youth is that they believe everything and anything is possible. Unfortunately, as we age and we get more experience in life, we lose that, and we get pushed down by experience. We get pushed down by the roadblocks and the obstacles. We fight against that, and we say that no, we want to retain that great advantage of youth, that ability to believe that everything and anything is possible. And the best example I can give you for that is Nelson Mandela, and he at 72 years of age came out of jail after being locked up for 28 years. His family members had been killed. His friends had been tortured. He had been treated appallingly. He came out and forgave his captors because he had a clear purpose. His purpose was to end apartheid. And if he had to suffer personally to do that, then it is an incredibly inspirational story. And if we can channel the great Madiba in how we approach the world, and we check our egos at the door and we focus on our purpose, then we will find these best ideas, which probably comes to my favorite, the 5th one, which is that people with passion change the world. Not the best looking, not the tallest, not the strongest, not the most educated, not the wealthiest, people with passion. Because real change, it requires an ability to break through. It requires resilience. And when the tough time comes, and they always will with change, you need the passion to get through it. And so people with passion will change the world. And then no matter what after you've done all of that, there's always another mountain. There's always something else to do. And that's why the journey must be enjoyed. Because if we focus purely on the destination, when you get there, I can tell you, you want to move on to the next thing. So always remember that that's a wonderful thing. When you hit the first roadblock and you overcome it, and the second roadblock comes, that's not a problem. It's a great joy. It's another opportunity to take it on and make positive change. Thanks, Sarah. So with that, I'm going to stop talking. I wish I could be with you. It'd be much more fun to see your faces and meet you all and hear your stories. But I'm happy to take whatever questions, comments that you have. But I just want to leave you with this. Go out and make a difference. Thank you for your time. So there's a question came up here from Dion. I've just noticed it. Technology is not my great strength, James, but I have seen it. So
that's okay. Thanks, Peter. I just want to thank you for the presentation quickly. I know that the video didn't work with I think we had a few issues with the audio, which is fine. But thanks for that presentation. We did have a few questions come through, so yeah, if you'd like to just address them as they come up. The first one is from Dion.
Yeah.
And he asked, thanks for today, Peter. Really uplifting presentation. I know James mentioned some other businesses in your portfolio. Can you tell us more about the online education platform for uneducated Australians?
Yeah, so we have a business. It's called Elfie. Now we invested in this some 5 years ago now. When it was in administration, it was in difficulty but they had a management team that were very passionate about creating quality education for the unemployed and for the disabled Australians. And it's a whole range of courses from logistics to finance to a whole host of things. It's all done online, so people get greater flexibility with how they do it. But there's also behind it a wonderful what we call support network of tutors, technology that can help track people's progress. We know if they're struggling, so we can reach out, help, support, engage them, and that business is going tremendously well. And now I think it now employs over 100 people itself, which is wonderful given that it was about to employ no one 5 years ago. And so we're very, very excited and very happy with that team of people.
Wonderful. Thank you. This one's from Elizabeth. How do you spell that?
Well, I could be smart and say THAT, but I won't do that and say that I'm assuming you mean Elfie. So it's ALFFIE.
Lovely. Thanks, Peter. The next one's from Steve, and he asks, what sort of influence can your organisation have on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander business?
It's a wonderful question, Steve, and I thank you for it. I don't know the answer to that, and I think the answer to that lies with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community. And what I can say to you is that we want to sit and engage with discussions. We want to invest in people and ideas. We want to mentor people and ideas to make a difference in the world. Would be incredibly arrogant of us to believe we know the answer to that question, but we certainly have an appetite to learn, and we certainly have an appetite to sit with you and explore how we could have a positive influence.
Absolutely. Thanks, Steve. Steph, can you tell us a little bit more about the importance of intellectual capital, and perhaps maybe it's the value of investment of intellectual capital, with some Kinaway members in Indigenous businesses?
It's an interesting question, Steph, because it's in this world, with the digital world, it's getting harder and harder to protect it legally. We don't, in our businesses, spend a lot of time worrying about that, our focus is more around providing the best products and delighting the customer, so that if you're solving real issues, Alfie, our education is a really good example. It's got some wonderful technology which is ahead of the industry, and so people keep copying it often. What we charge ourselves with doing is continuing to evolve and continuing to grow and staying ahead of the competition. You know, it reminds me of another saying: even if you're on the right track, if you stand still, you get run over. And one of the challenges with intellectual capital is you run the risk of freezing in a moment, of freezing around a concept, an idea, a technology today. Whereas I think real innovation is how you stay ahead of the market. So I would encourage you to focus on that more than trying to protect what you have right now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Steph. The next one is from Paul. And Paul asks, what are you looking for when investing in businesses? Does it need to be something people know intimately, or can it be an industry they are passionate about?
I would say that the latter, Paul. One of our 6 principles is that people with passion can change the world. Most people can learn most things. But passion's hard to teach, and so we look for people that have got real clarity around purpose, around what it is, what's the issue they're trying to address, what are they trying to solve here, what's the impact they're trying to have, and then we look for their passion, their commitment to it. When the going gets tough, will they come through the storm, or will they move on and do something different? So Paul, I would vote for passion above industry knowledge.
Wonderful. Thanks, Paul. There's another one. Can you talk us through the True North concept? If you dare to dream as a business, how do you start taking the first steps on that journey?
Yeah, another wondererful question. Look, first of all, dare to dream. Can we agree that it's worth doing that? I think I said in the presentation, I've had the most incredible experiences in my life. One of them was I went to Israel a few years ago, and I met with one of the peace negotiators in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And of course, his due north is peace, right? That's his dream. That's the dare to dream moment. And I think I asked him a similar question. Well, that seems like how do you do that? That seems impossible. And his view was, well, the chasm, if you just look at the chasm to peace, it's insurmountable. So what the Palestinians and the Israeli negotiators have agreed is that every interaction they have to take a step towards peace. And so they don't lose sight of the dream of peace. That is their dream, but they accept that they're not going to make it in one move. It is a series of moves, and even the pathway can change. So you might have a dream today and you think you'll go a certain path. The path will change because the world will change, your life will change, your experiences, knowledge will, the people who come into your orbit will change, but the dream doesn't change. And it's okay to take varying paths to that dream. So I think my children laugh at this, but how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So how do you get to your dream? One step at a time. I mean, that's how I would answer that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Peter. I believe we have a couple more questions come through. So this one's from Jack, and he asks, can these businesses just be ideas at the moment, new businesses or established businesses?
All of the above. So we support all of the above. We've had businesses that were literally thought bubbles, and we've done a little bit to help them get going. We've done businesses that are new businesses just starting up, and we've had businesses like the education one I referenced earlier, that was an established business that had got into trouble. It's about the dream, it's about the potential, it's about can we add value. And I don't want you to walk out of here thinking, oh, these guys have got the answers. We don't have the answers, we have the questions. You have the answers. The people wanting to drive the businesses, the entrepreneurs, they have the answers. All we have is questions and that help empower them to get to that answer, to get to that dream that they have.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jack. We've got another one. It's from Benny, and he asks, if you want to move forward and explore any opportunity with PAN, where do I go from here?
You reach out. We're up for talking. We're up for engaging. As I said, I think Sam and Sarah are on the call. Sam's leading this project, and Sarah's helping, and I'm here. We're all here, and so just reach out. We'd love to get together and talk.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I can add to that and say, yeah, if it's, you can reach out through PAN, or obviously reach out to Kinaway as well, and we can take it from there. This one is from Elizabeth Little, and she asks, can we seek advice from you on our businesses?
Yes. So people say, how did you get to have so many experiences all around the world? I say, because I say yes to everything. Every conversation's worth having. And Elizabeth, I would love to sit and talk to you, because I'm sure I would learn something. So it's part selfish. I think every interaction's two-way. It's one of the problems I have with the mentoring concept. It's described sort of as top-down. The best mentoring relationships are two-way. It's this. You can have this intergenerational mentoring where, I get with young people and I learn so much from them, or I get with older people and I learn so much from them. And so, yeah, of course, if you want to talk, let's talk.
Absolutely. I believe we have one more final question, Peter. This is from myself. I know Collingwood had a tough result on the weekend against Port Adelaide, so just want to know how you think they'll bounce back against West Coast this Saturday.
Who do you follow?
Richmond.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you'd be hoping that we don't go well, but look, it's a big challenge, isn't it? The fly to Perth to play a very good football team. I think the boys will give a good account of themselves. They'll be competitive. We're confident that we can win, but I'm sure the Eagles are very confident they can win. And as I said, they're a terrific football side, the Eagles. But we'll give it our best shot, because we'd like to chase the Tigers through October if we could. And but we'll see.
Absolutely. Peter, we have just one more final question, which I think is probably a good way to finish off. What characteristics make a great business founder or business owner?
I think passion, for one, clear purpose, really clear purpose of where you're going and what you're trying to achieve, and an open heart and an open mind to listen and learn. None of us have the answers, all the answers. We might have part of the answer. It's how we collectively come to the solutions that is the power in this stuff.
Wonderful. Lovely. Well, thanks, Peter. I think that's it for the questions that we have received for this morning's webinar. So I just want to thank you for joining us today, and just want to say, we're really excited to be working in collaboration with you on this initiative.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful to be with you all. I look forward to the day we can do it in person.
Absolutely. So yeah, just want to thank Peter and thank everyone who joined us this morning. Don't forget to keep an eye out for exciting news regarding this partnership and for our future Kinaway webinars also, particularly as we're delivering many over Indigenous Business Month, which kicks off this Friday and runs throughout the month of October. Once again, we hope you enjoyed today's webinar, and hope you'll have a great Wednesday, and we look forward to seeing you all soon.